Shalom. I'd like to start out by giving all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect of Israel. This is Thamayim in Atlanta, and I've got this post pulled up from the New York Post. And it says, Bush official claims U.S. built secret $21 trillion underground city for rich and powerful to live in near extinction event. Or if near extinction event happens. This came out today, May 5th. And could never get this video to work, but we'll go on. This is a former housing official who worked under President George H.W. Bush has made an astonishing claim that the U.S. government spent years funneling money into the creation of a secret underground city where the rich and powerful can shelter in the event of a near extinction event. Catherine Austin Fitts, who served as the Assistant Secretary of Housing and Urban Development for Housing between 1989 and 1990, was only there 1 year with HUD, made the shocking allegations during an appearance from former Fox News host Tucker Carlson's podcast. Although there is no concrete evidence to support her claims, Fitts, 74 years of age, who was originally from Philadelphia, cited research by Michigan State University economist Mark Skidmore, who released a report in 2017 stating that he and a team of scholars had uncovered $21 trillion in unauthorized spending in the Department of Defense and Housing and Urban Development for the years 1998 to 2015. And this stuff is true. We already know that the millionaires and billionaires build underground bunkers. Why wouldn't you think the elite are actually siphoning off money from the taxpayers to build a city? And then we also know militarily, there's Cheyenne Mountain, which I believe it's called, in Colorado, that they have a big underground bunker. And it's all for continuity of government, so that once this government falls, they'll still be able to rise back up and keep ruling stuff. But we know the Lord has a different plan for them. And so at the time, Skidmore noted that he first began investigating the unreported spending after he heard Fitts refer to a report which indicated the Army had $6.5 trillion in unsupported adjustments or spending in fiscal year 2015. Given the Army's $122 billion budget, that meant unsupported adjustments were 54 times spending authorized by Congress. Typically, such adjustments in public budgets are only a small fraction of authorized spending, the report noted. And right here, you see some images in which that is much better than any of the houses that any of my friends live in. So, you know the elite are doing this. It says a former housing official made an astonishing claim. Spent years funneling money. Yeah, it's just showing an image of a bunker. And really, that's the point. The elite are planning to hide themselves away once World War III starts. And really, once all this chaos starts that they are creating from these forced food shortages and from social chaos that they're raising. You see it with this, I'm forgetting his name, Carmelo Anthony story, and then on the other side you got that lady that called the little black boy the N-word, and you see they're raising social chaos. This is going to really culminate when there's the food shortages really show their head, as well as economic downturn. And eventually we're going to have civil wars and race wars and World War III, which is ultimately what they're hiding themselves. Well, I shouldn't say ultimately, but they plan on the nukes going off. And then at that time, Yahweh Shai will be returning as well. They're afraid of his return, of Yahushai's return, because he is coming to put them underfoot. They're also afraid of the nukes and just the social disorder that is being created. They do have underground bunkers, and I've heard stories of complete underground cities and tunneling that's in most of the major cities around the U.S., and that there's pretty much things underground, little cities and different highways underground. And this isn't surprising, but it's good to hear because it helps us measure the times. If the elite are about to get in their bunkers, then we know that, which we're not going to see them get in their bunkers, but we might hear about it. But then we'll know that we are nearing the end and that social chaos is about to start. But no man knows the time or hour, so they don't know, especially not them. They don't know. But the Lord did give us signs to measure before his return. And I guess they're seeing the signs as well because they're taking to their bunkers. But this is Revelation 6 and verse 14. And not to say that they're getting in them already, just to say they exist. These exist and they've built them and they're going to hide in it. And it's scriptural. Revelation 6 and verse 14. And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together. This is the mushroom cloud. And every mountain and island were moved out of their places. When these nukes go off, it's going to be more than have ever gone off. And it's most likely going to reshape the earth, where different islands are and where different countries are. These things are going to be moved by the amount of destruction that is coming. It speaks of the earth reeling to and fro. It's going to be huge, which is why the elect, or the hopeful elect, are praying that the Lord takes us out of this place when this happens, because the best view of the destruction will be from the chariots. And that's what we are praying for. That's why we're working, to be saved out of this coming destruction. But the elite, they don't have a savior, so they are trying to save themselves in these bunkers. And it says, and the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every free man hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains. The kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, that's your elite. And they plan on riding this destruction out in the safety of their bunkers, all the way underground. And then other, even regular people, I guess you wouldn't call them too regular, but some people have bunkers themselves. But if they're in Babylon the Great, they are not going to make it, because this is going to be utter destruction for Babylon the Great, America. And it also says, and every bondman and every free man hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks, because they're going to be taking their servants with them too. They're slaves that they have now, but they're not going to be in there for that long. And it says, and said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne. They want to be hidden from Yahushua, because there's nothing good. Their reward is not good, and they don't want that reward for polluting the earth, for touching the apple of the Lord's eye. They want nothing to do with Yahushua. That's why they've covered up his image, iconoclasm. They're whitewashing. But they're going to be going into their bunkers, which I just mentioned Cheyenne Mountain, and then they're going to be going into their underground bunkers. They probably have some in the seas. They might have some space stations that they have set up. None of these things are going to save them. They still have to be punished. It's from the face of him that sitteth on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. So Yahushua is returning angry. He's returning extremely angry for them. And Yahweh sits on the throne, and the Lamb is Yahweh Shai. But they have Isaiah 63 to look forward to. Who is this that cometh from Edom with dyed garments from Basra? Because so-called white people are the biblical Edomites. And these are the same elite that it's talking about building bunkers. These are Edomites. They are hated of the Lord, and he's about to bring them out of power. It says, for the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? They're not going to be able to stand with Yahweh Shai. There's nothing to say. They are guilty, and they've got to pay the price for being such terrible stewards of the earth, for stealing so much, and for their greed, and for the touching of the Israelites. The Israelites are the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, as well as are scattered. They have kept us on the absolute bottom and have lied about everything. And now they plan to just run off into their bunkers and not see Yahweh Shai. They're in for a very rude awakening. This is Jeremiah 16 and verse 16. Behold, I will send for many fishers. And the fishers are the prophets on the street corners, on the highways and byways, prophesying the word of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. And they're fishing for the elect, trying to draw out the elect. And with fishing comes patience. And this is a work of dedication, and it's taking some time, but now that time of fishing is drawing to a close. But the prophets are fishing for the elect of the nation of Israel, and letting them know the prophecies that America is going to be destroyed with nuclear fire, that Yahweh Shai is about to return, that there's going to be famine and social chaos and economic collapse and war, and that in order to escape these things, you have to return to your power, to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, or suffer the same fate as the heathen. It says, saith the Lord, and they shall fish them, and after will I send for many hunters, and they shall hunt them. And so these elite are hiding away in their bunkers, but the Lord's going to turn his prophets from fishermen, from that patient state to a aggressive hunter state, pulling the elite out of their bunkers, out of their safe places, and putting them into chains, because the elite are going into a very hardcore slavery, hardcore bondage. And from there, they'll be bred to where the rest of the nation of Edom returns, because all the Edomites here in America are going to be destroyed, and then they're going to be destroyed in the various wars. The Valley of Yehoshaphat, they're going to be destroyed. And so they've got to come back to serve out their judgment as well, because there's a little thing called reincarnation, in which they're all going to pay for the things they've done in their past lives within that 1,000 years of captivity. And after will I send for many hunters, and they shall hunt them from every mountain and from every hill and out of the holes of the rocks. They're going to be brought out from these bunkers that they're in. All their governments are going to fall. They're going to have no protection. Their armies are going to be completely annihilated. And the elect in these new bodies that Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is going to grant us with the second covenant and with the salvation, the elect are going to get to use these bodies with the spiritual powers and the immortality that comes with it to completely pull down the little bit of power that Esau will have left. to remove that from them, to remove them out of their safe places, out of their bunkers, out of their hiding from the judgment that is coming to them. They're gonna be taken out, and it's not gonna be a nice thing for them. And removing their families and their wives and everyone out of these bunkers. There's gonna be some severe beating within there too. Probably some unaliving, in which spiritual power will be around for them to be brought back. It's going to be extremely terrible for them. It says, "For mine eyes are upon all their ways, because the eyes of the Lord are 10,000 times brighter than the sun." He sees you down there in those bunkers. He sees you in your deep undersea bunkers and in your space bunkers. He sees you. And he's seen everything that you have done, even more than you know, because of reincarnation. He's seen all of your lives. And actually, had you do these things, you can't hide. There's no hiding. It says, "They are not hid from my face." He sees everything. He's the Most High. And from a high vantage point, you see everything. It says, "Neither is their iniquity hid from mine eyes." There's sin upon sin. The Lord it's just full of patience. So let them do their wickedness for a time, but we're coming into judgment. Judgment Day. It's at hand. This is the end of the Edomites having power. The Edomites are so-called white people and these small hatters. This is their end. That's why they're being exposed. All their little things that they're doing, like building bunkers, is being exposed. And they're about to suffer the wrath of the Lamb. And so, Lord willing, that was edifying. I'd like to give all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Yokah, Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the Great Millstone. Shalom to the elect of Israel. Shalom.